Okay, Boker Tov, good morning. Today is January 7th, and this is the Denver Kihila information session for our volunteer mission to Israel. What we're going to do here is hear from EVP, Emergency Volunteer Program in Israel, who are essentially the operators of our trip, about what the trip will entail. We'll also talk about price and some other logistics like arranging for flights and
Brad, can
answer
you screenshots also?
and answer questions that you may have. Um, okay, so I'm going to turn it over to EVP. Quick introduction, explanation of the program. Take it away.
Great, thank you so much, Rabbi. So shalom, hello everyone. My name is Adi Zahavi. I am the CEO of the Emergency Volunteers Project. I'll try to do this in the short version. I would like to introduce EVP first of all, so we'll see who we are, get to know the organization and the reason we do what we do. That would be in the first part. And on the second part, I would like to share with you the details of the program. So here goes. The Emergency Volunteers Project basically is a non-governmental 501c3 program that the main purpose is to find, train, and deploy to Israel people with a heart that would like to come and help in times of emergency. We started the organization 16 years ago. We trained over 2,700 volunteers in different categories between firefighters, doctors, nurses, paramedics, community volunteers, give them the entire training they need in order to actually work alongside the emergency services in Israel or the municipalities and the civilian forces that are helping or will help in time of emergency. The main reason that we started the EVP was in preparation for the earthquake that Israel is expecting. We all thought that a war will come, and we just didn't think that it will be now, and that those will be the circumstances that will start it. We also aware that, at least that's my belief, that the big war, the one that we are actually referred to a all-front war, didn't start yet, and it's on the corner with what's going on up north. We might find ourselves very soon in an all-front war with Lebanon and Syria and Iran, and that will be the second main purpose that EVP was established. In order to do what we do, in order to be able to have an infrastructure that can find, recruit, train, and certify volunteers to come to Israel, we had to build a very strong infrastructure with the government of Israel. Otherwise, there's no way you can sustain this type of operations. EVP has a very, very strong relationship and partnership with the list that you see here in the screen. Between them is the Ministry of Public Security, the Ministry of Security, Social Affairs, the IDF. You can see the National Emergency Management Authority, it's like the United States, FEMA, Fire Department, etc., etc., etc. Basically, all of those that in times of emergency are the decision makers or the executors of the operational plans that Israel has are partnering with EVP, or should I say EVP is partnered with them. After we established these partnerships, including Knesset decision that allows us to do what to do, including a contract as an NGO with the Ministry of Defense. Can someone, guys, can you put yourself on mute? I can hear myself.
Yeah, I
with
think
an
someone
echo.
may maybe someone has two. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I got it. I got it. Go ahead, please
Thank you,
continue,
sir.
Adi.
Thank you, Abby. in order to do what we do, in order to be able to have, well, basically after having the contracts we have, the partnership we have, the Knesset decisions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we decided to choose four main categories in order basically to have the ability for volunteers from the United States to come and volunteer with: firefighters, rescue services, medical teams, community, and mass feeding responders. Of course, for the firefighting and medical teams, our volunteers have to be fully career operation now teams in what they do: career firefighters, active doctors, nurses, paramedics, etc. Firefighters are working with the Israeli Fire and Rescue Services. Doctors, nurses, paramedics working in hospitals or with the IDF Medical Corps. The community volunteers and the mass feeding volunteers are working with EVP on our emergency mobile kitchens that we have in Israel. We have a couple of them operational, and some of them are being prepared as we speak. The total goal is to have 10 mass feeding mobile kitchens in order to feed the people of Israel and work with the IDF soldiers. In order to do what we do, I'm going to do this very fast. It's not relevant to you guys. We have a very serious training that we do in the home communities of the volunteers. If we build teams of emergency response groups from synagogues, from communities, we come to their community, we train them, and we can build a synagogue emergency response team to Israel. So if something happens here, the synagogue or the community can send their own team to come and work in Israel and actually have boots on the ground. In order to do so, we sent to the United States representatives from the IDF, from Home Front Command, Search and Rescue, firefighters, medical teams, our volunteers, and we have a very, very important training that trains you. If you are emergency services personnel, we'll train you professionally to have the same level of what you do in America with Israel. If you are community or mass feeding volunteers, we are going to give you a light search and rescue training. We're going to give you stop the bleed training, CPR, trauma, how to treat trauma victims in a very basic way, but we want to make sure that you guys are here to help and you'll know what to do. EVP started actually to deploy volunteers in 2010, but I had to choose the graphs. So we started from 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, going onward. Just want to show you timeline of success of what we have been doing in order for you to understand that you're coming to work with an organization that has a lot of experience, know what we do, and at the end of the day, we're here to make sure that you guys will have the experience you want to have and what you had in your mind, expectations. And on the other hand, we want to make sure that the Israeli side will get what they need. And when you do this, tie them together, you have a winner, you have an ace. And that's what we have been trying to do for the past 16 years. I'm going to skip that. I would like to show you one video, and then I'll jump straight to the second part. Not before I'll ask you if you have any questions until now. I want to share, well, in time, since October 7th, I can say that October 7th was Saturday. By October 9th, we already had teams of firefighters, medical teams, and community volunteers in Israel. We literally activated our volunteers, over 150 of them, in 24 hours, and pushed them to Israel. Between the fire, the medical, and the community, I will show you one video. This one. EVP CEO. We are over a month into the war in Israel with Hamas. And I wanted to share with you in this video what EVP has accomplished during the past month. Since the war started, EVP sent immediately volunteers to Israel, from firefighters to medical teams and to mass feeding volunteers. We deployed over 60
5 firefighters to Israel to date. Those firefighters worked alongside the Israeli Fire and Rescue Services, responding to calls on a daily basis, 24/7. Each firefighter came for a period of between 14 days to 21 days. The medical teams have been served with the IDF Medical Corps and with Barzilai Hospital and Ziv Hospital. Medical teams, we brought over 50 doctors, nurses, and paramedics to Israel. The main work of the medical teams was to treat the victims and the patients at the hospital in the ambulances of the IDF. The mass feeding volunteers that deployed to Israel fed over 75,000 people with 75,000 meals on a daily basis, starting in the morning, cooking every single day from morning till afternoon, and during the afternoon till night, they would drive to different secure locations in the south and would feed the civilians of Israel and the IDF soldiers. 16 years ago, when we started the Emergency Volunteers Project, we aimed for that day. I want to take a deep breath and thank all of you, EVP supporters from Israel, from the United States, and from all over the world. Thank you so much for standing with EVP and behind you. And God bless us all.
So I chose to show you this movie so you can have a recap of what we've done only a month since the war started. Of course, we did more since, just in order to show you who's EVP, who we are, what we are doing, and to let you know that you're in good hands choosing us to come and volunteer with EVP. Any questions before we go to the second part of the volunteering? Okay, so give or take, when we go to the 45 day after the war started, we, as other organization, started to approach communities, volunteer communities that work with us and others, and offer them to come to Israel for X amount of days to volunteer, to show solidarity, and to be boots on the ground to help. What we wanted, basically not wanted, but what we built originally was a 9-day trip, which we changed, of course, as a tailor-made for you guys, but we built a trip that have, from one hand, a couple of days of feeding soldiers with our mobile kitchens, down south, inside the bases, the soldiers are going in and out of Gaza, a way of showing them solidarity and thank them and boost their morale of soldiers that didn't see home for weeks, and have someone come to them and hug them and tell them, we're here for you. You're helping Israel. You're guarding the people of Israel. You're risking your life. And we came all the way from the States to thank you and to cook for you. This is amazing. We're cooking for the soldiers, not because they are in need. EVP works together with the IDF. We are actually part of the volunteering unit of the IDF. And one of our missions is to work with the IDF on doing the moral booster for those soldiers. So we get, we assign those units that we are going to feed together with the IDF, in partnership with the IDF. And it's not because they are in need. A lot of the feeding products we're actually getting from the IDF. We have all the approvals to do so. And we chose to do that with every group that comes to Israel. That's on one part. On the second part, we wanted to take the volunteers to have the experience of working in the land and helping the farmers in the Gaza envelope area. As you all know, Thais are not working now. Palestinians are not working now there. and a lot of the crops are being destroyed. We don't have the manpower to do so. Almost every Israeli that I know, including us, are volunteering with the farmers, and this is something that is close to our hearts, and we wanted to put that in the program as well. The program that we built for you is basically Monday to Friday. Okay, Monday. I understood, Rabbi, that they're landing on Monday. Is that correct?
Yeah. So if we leave on Sunday, some people may decide to go early, but if we leave Denver on Sunday, there are two options. You could fly through JFK or Boston, and we arrive in Israel either 10:30 a.m. on Monday or 1:30 p.m. on Monday. So essentially, Monday late morning or early afternoon.
Okay, so this itinerary, the plan that we are suggesting is a draft, because what we like to do is sit with the community and the volunteers and build it together. With work is being done with the representatives, but at the end we want to have a complete mission that is tailor-made to the needs and expectations and what the volunteer would like to do. Of course, in the boundaries of what I shared. So we assume that you guys are landing on Monday. Some will land in the morning, some will land in the afternoon. EVP representatives will be there to pick you up, take you to our main headquarters in Anatot base, right on the border of Jerusalem, where you're going to live for the next few days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leaving on Friday. And this is what we're going to do. Let's assume that you
Adi,
guys
let
are.
me just Adi, let me just mention one thing to the folks on listening or are going to be listening later. The nights we stay on the base, and maybe you'll show us some pictures of what the
Yes, yes, yes.
accommodations
I'm
look
going to
like.
show you a
The
video.
night, great. The nights we spend on the base, we're going to have men and women will be bunking separately. And when we move to a hotel, obviously people will have hotel rooms according to their preference. I just wanted to keep that in mind, and you'll see how nice the accommodations are on the base itself.
You're right. So let me, you're right. I will address that. Monday to Friday is the trip. Accommodation, full board with us will be in our base. We actually got a land inside Anatot IDF base when we built our own compound. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, we have bunk beds, 4 people in a room. Each room has its own bathroom and shower. You guys are coming to work. So it's not a hotel, but I would definitely say it's a 5-star hostel. It's, in my opinion, it's beautiful. Each room has air condition, each room has Wi-Fi, each room has TV with Netflix. We have a recreation room full of beverages and snacks and everything you guys need. At all times, when you're in the base, you have at least 1 or 2 people from EVP team with you that will take care of all your needs. Breakfast, we are going to eat in the base. Lunch, usually we're going to eat when we feed, and dinner, we're going to eat at the base. One evening, we're going to go out and have a farewell dinner with everyone. The cost includes, well, basically everything that you probably already read here.
I'll just add, Adi, one other thing. We maybe as a group we'll discuss this. We also discussed the possibility of 2 nights in the hotel and 2 nights on the base, which would raise the price a little bit, right? You remember how
Correct.
much?
Correct. I need to check once I have the dates. I will check and which type of hotel. I can tell you that we had a team that just landed in Israel today from a synagogue in Florida, and they paid. Wow, I don't want to.
I'm just going back to the text you sent me. Okay, it's 20. It was 2,600 in the Don Panorama if we do 2 nights instead of 1 and 1.
Good. Perfect. Thank you.
Instead of 3 and 1. So
Perfect.
just I just wanted to let the group know about that, and we could decide what we want to do, obviously, before we go, um, and it won't change the volunteering that we're doing, but folks just may want to be in the
Right.
hotel a little earlier.
And if that's the case, of course, we're going to pick you up and bring you back to the hotel. Everything is going to be the same. If we're picking you up in the hotel, you'll come, we'll organize, we'll go as a group, and go back in the evenings. When you guys are in the hotel, of course, it's half board. You have breakfast and dinner included. Let me show you a video of the compound where you guys are going to stay if you're going to stay with us.
You have to share the sound, Adi, because we're not getting a good sound.
I have to tell you, there's in my opinion, there's kind of a magic in the place, because what you don't see, because you couldn't take a picture of it, is the base. You enter an IDF base, you're driving in the base, you're between the soldiers, the atmosphere is different, you feel like you're here to work. It's a great package. But as you said, Rabbi, it's not for everyone. I know I tell you that in 2 weeks from now, we have another group that is coming, and two couples wanted to go and to stay at King David, and the rest of the group are staying with us. Basically, we can accommodate all the needs. What we're going to do, and I'm going to show you a video of that. Monday, we're going to pick you up from the airport, driving you to the base. Doesn't matter the moment if you sleep in the base or in the hotel, you're going to start in the base. We'll have the entire afternoon, basically, around afternoon from 4-ish. The entire team will arrive. We're going to do an open session, a briefing about where you are, expectations, what the trip is going to look like. We're going to introduce you to the team. We're going to give you a security briefing about the situation in Israel. We're going to go a bit deeper, okay, about the current situation and what to expect in the future. We're going to talk about, from feedbacks we received, it's one of the main topics people really wanted to hear, the issue with the Muslims, the Shia and the Sunnis, and Iran and the Middle East and Israel, but updated and accurate. Our director of security and counterterrorism, Moshe Gutman, is a retired bomb technician in the Israeli police department. He was in over 50 terror attacks in Israel. He's a counterterrorism expert. He is a current speaker in television stations, in panels in Israel and abroad. The guy is a phenomenal person to know. We're doing trainings for US police officers together, and bring them different security officers to Israel and training them, giving them the Israeli expertise in security and counterterrorism as an add-on to what they already know. This guy is the real deal. He's gonna give you a lecture about the situation, and then we're gonna meet him again, depends on timing. He's gonna give you a lecture about self-awareness, team awareness, prepare, basically working and volunteering in a war area, and all the outcomes that can come out of it. He's going to talk to you about suspicious people, suspicious objects, what do you do, what you don't do, etc., etc., etc. We're going to finish the day around 6:30. We're going to have dinner, and around, give or take, 8 p.m. you will be free and you will be exhausted. That's going to be Monday. On Tuesday and Wednesday,
Adi, let me just mention, I had the opportunity to hear from this speaker when I was on my trip with the Rabbinical Council of America. He had a ton of information and it was very interesting. And I'll also just note, while we're talking about speakers, that for Tuesday night and Wednesday night, when we get back from our volunteering for the day, we're also working on some different speakers, maybe frontline volunteers, people running other organizations that we know of, to come talk to us about other things that are going on. The main focus is on working, but we figured once we're back on the base and everyone's had a chance to eat dinner and shower, there may be interest in hearing some other viewpoints. So that's a work in progress, and that's for Tuesday night and Wednesday night.
Correct. And the only thing we don't want you to have are gaps between the time you do something until you do something else. We want to make sure that you will be, even when you rest, you'll be very well rested. But when you don't need to rest, we want to keep you busy and very enthusiastic about the next day and the day that will come. That's going to be Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are going to drive to IDF bases down south. The reason we're not going to go up north is because of the time. If we're going to go up north, it means that we have to spend the night or come very, very late. It's a possibility. It's an option. That's why I'm putting it on the table. But usually when we have short groups, we're taking them down south. We are going to get the bases that we are going to feed in usually 6 days or before we're going to feed, because everything is changing, and units going in and out of Gaza on a weekly basis. Assignments are being changed, so we need to be accurate, and that's how it works. But what we can give you is an option. If you have the heart for a certain unit, of course we can make it happen. If you have a lone soldier that in the community, we can make sure, as long as you're not his parents, we can make sure that we're going, and they're not in Gaza, we can go and feed them. The rule is that parents cannot come in and see their kids, because you know why? Because if a kid will see his mother or father and his operational mindset, it can take him out of the focus. But we can do that. We can go to the Air Force. We can feed the pilots and the team. We can feed we feed the 669 units with the choppers, the F-16, F-15. We can go and feed the commanders. We can go and feed the Navy, the Navy SEAL. There's many places. As long as we'll get closer to the date, the Rebbe and I are going to be in very close connection. I'm going to put a list in front of his eyes, and he's going to choose. Also, how many people are we going to feed? It's a very common question. Usually we feed between 500 to 1,200 at a time. We're doing usually lunches, but we can do dinner as well. We see the progress of the team. The first day, we see the capability of the team. Even if we do 300 and 400, it's fine. And don't forget that we have also between 6 to 7 EVP staff members with you at all times. So we can also give a hand if we see that there's a need. But we want to make sure that we're really feeding a decent number of soldiers when we do the feedings. I want to show you a very short clip about what, that's not what I want to show you. Give me a second. Here it is. About the mobile kitchen and how you're going to feed, where you're going to feed, and how it's going to look like. Okay.
All right, Adi, I just want to let you know that I will not take my shirt off for everyone's sake. Just to be clear.
Another question that we usually been asked is security. We are armed. At least 3 people will be armed at all times with you. We have in our vehicles for everyone ceramic vests and helmets. We don't use them, but they're there. In the compound, we have a shelter, an area if we'll need to, but our base is not in the range of the missiles. So it's funny, but in that base, in Anatot base, there is no shelters. We just made one because we wanted to have the volunteers feel much more secure, but the threat for missiles is skipping the area that we are in. That's regarding security. Regarding medical insurance, we ask for every volunteer to make his own medical insurance. It's a must. But we are also providing sleep and fall, as we call it, sleep and fall medical insurance for all the volunteers. So if I know that some of the volunteers found it hard to get insurance, medical insurance or tourist insurance to come to Israel. That's why we're saying that we're doing this insurance. Usually we do it for all the volunteers as as a precaution, but we wanted to share this with you in case you will not be able to find insurance company. If you have any issues with it, let us know, because we know about a few companies that are insuring. But the reason that we ask you to do medical insurance is because our slip and fall insurance does not cover a precondition that you come with it from the United States. That's
Adi, I'll
regarding.
just let you know that recently I helped someone. Um, there are a lot of the standard companies are not doing this now, but I did find a company that is. So I could also help our participants with health insurance,
Great, and I would
medical
love
insurance
you
insurance.
to also if you can text me the name, because I'm collecting the names of insurance companies
Perfect.
that are doing that. On Thursday, basically, on Thursday we're going to well, we talked about the Gaza envelope, and we're going to help farmers either plant new crops or harvest the crops that are in the land. That's going to be a full day. Our days are going to start, it depends on the team. We are very happy to start the days at 7:15, 7:30 a.m. And I know it's maybe it's people will say it's too early, but our experience shows that you guys are going to be up between 5:30 a.m. to 6:15 a.m. every morning because of the jet lag, because of the adrenaline. So we wanted to start the day early in order to miss the traffic and just, start the day early, and just will be smoothly when we go to feed in the south, we're talking about give or take 2.5 hours each way. We are stopping on the way for coffee and use the restrooms. And I would say we're going to start when we get around 9-ish to the bases. We start to prepare the food and organize the equipment. By 11:30 a.m., we're going to start and feed. Officially, noon is the time that soldiers will come to for lunch, but it usually starts from 11:30. By 1:30, we should be over the feeding, and we're going to start to clean. You guys are not going to do heavy cleaning. That's why, you know, we also have the Israeli staff. We're going to use a lot of tinfoil, but some basic stuff we're going to ask you to help us clean. I would say by 5:30 we should be back. Between 5 to 5:30 every day, we should be back in the base, giving you time to take a shower and organize, prepare dinner, and have the speaker. If the speaker will be during dinner, after dinner, this is something the Rebbe and I will sit and discuss ahead of time, of course. But this, give or take, will be your day. When we're going to
I
do
just want to
Thursday,
add one other thing. Sorry, Adi. We're also trying, and we realize that this will extend our day either on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, depending on when we can do this. We're trying to arrange a visit to one of the affected communities that was attacked on October 7th, or maybe the location of the rave. We're working, as I mentioned to Adi, we're working on Thursday, hopefully to go into Ramat HaNegev, which is the sister city through Jaco with Denver. And the shlicha here um, is helping the Jaco trip visit one of these communities, and hopefully she'll be able to work with EVP to arrange that for us. As I said, it may extend our day, but I think people will find that worthwhile and meaningful. So, you know, a lot of these trips are subject to changes, but this is the general gist and some of the things that we're trying to add on as special additions to make the trip even more meaningful.
right. And there was one thing that I added it on the Friday morning. We have a very close relationship with Kfar Aza that got hit severely on October 7th, but you and I will need to discuss this later. But that's one option to visit the community. And also there's the opportunity to go. It's a half day in Tel Aviv where we're going, you know, with a tour guide and a bus to the Kidnapped Square in Tel Aviv. It's a full day that we are doing, starts at 8:30 a.m., finishes at 3:30 a.m., and that would bring you straight to the hotel. That's an option. If not, we're going to finish on Friday around 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and take you basically to the hotel. Unless you guys are going to be already in the hotel, because it depends on how many days you want to stay in the base. But that's another option.
I missed that, Adi. Could you review the Kfar Aza, the Friday thing? I didn't quite understand what the possibility was.
Okay. Kfar Aza possibility is a possibility that you and I need to discuss that. Okay, and I'll give you the reason we need to discuss. But we are we have relationship with a few communities that have been hit. Basically, I'll say it out loud. Kfar Aza is one of the communities that got severely hit on October 7th, like others. Many of those communities don't want to open their doors and their gates for, as they say, tourists that will come in and, you know, share the respect, because they are dealing with a lot of pain and they're trying to rebuild themselves. Those communities are looking for relationships and partnerships and communities that will help them and donate for the long term to really rebuild their communities. I got to know them through communities that came to EVP week, that like you guys are coming, and they wanted us to organize a visit. That's how I learned about that, and we started a connection. So what I do, I sit with the leaders of the communities, introduce them to the idea. If they like it, we're doing a call with the community, and then we set a visit. That's the you know, that's why it's a possibility. That's one option. And then we can go to either to Kfar Aza or to any other community that would agree to see us. To go to the Nova Festival location, that's not a problem. Okay, we can do that. It's open to the public, and we can definitely do that because you mentioned that in the text. And there's another option, option two, to drive to Tel Aviv,
Okay.
to the kidnapped square, to do Kabbalat Shabbat. It's not a Kabbalat Shabbat in the evening, as we know. Every Friday around noonish or early afternoon, the families are there, singers are there. Many of the people are coming to share their respect and solidarity. It's an event. So what we do, usually we're doing Friday morning, and I can actually, if I can actually share with you the itinerary of that. Friday morning, here it is. Okay, leave at 8:30, departure from Jerusalem. At 9:30 a.m. arrive to Tel Aviv and doing a graffiti tour as the war mirror of the street of what happened. 11:30 doing old Jaffa, Constantines in the background of the war. Everything is about the war. They did a lot of artwork and a lot of stories, and a lot of areas in Tel Aviv are dedicated to October 7th. So we're going to visit those sites and locations with the tour guide. 1 p.m. We're going to do lunch with this group. We're taking them to Dr. Shakshuka in Tel Aviv. And at 2:30 p.m., there's a Kabbalat Shabbat in the Kidnap Square of October 7th. Around 3:30, we're going to return back to Jerusalem. So that's an option. I can share this itinerary to you, but I was not sure how much we can accomplish in afternoon when after we do a long day of feeding and with all the equipment and the kitchen and trailers. So I just wanted to put that as an option on Friday.
Okay, great.
So that is it. Any questions? Did I miss anything, guys, that you want me to address?
Okay, I asked on the chat about whether people would prefer Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night on the base, and Thursday night in the hotel, or 2 and 2. So people should let me know about that. And ask any other questions you have about the actual program to Adi. Just unmute yourself and go for it. Okay.
I like the
Well,
audience.
yeah, I guess that means Adi was pretty thorough.
There's one more thing that I want to mention here. The group that is just landed in Israel had a donor that's wanted to do something special to the donors, to the soldiers, and we're doing a barbecue. He gave a donation to feed 200 or 250 soldiers and to do a big barbecue. And that's an option that I'm going to put on the table. You are going to see a lot of soldiers, so it's not something that you need to do. But if this is something you want to do, a barbecue, a big mangal to the soldiers, and be with them and feed them and have music and have like a whole thing and a theme out of it, it's another thing that we can do. Besides that, I think you have a very, very tight schedule those days.
Yeah, I will just add that when Adi and I were talking, we focused first of all on doing things and spending more time doing things than talking to people. And again, trying not to have too much sort of downtime where we're sort of waiting around. And I think we've accomplished that. So yeah, okay. If there's no other questions, I think we could say goodbye. At some point, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to talk to Adi about this. At some point, we're going to have to all pull the trigger and decide and commit um, to this trip. Um, and um, and I'm going to get that date from Adi. Um, and yeah, I think that's the only thing that needs to be. I'm hoping that we get 10 people. Um, oh, the cost. Okay, so Adi shared the cost. I think it was $2,200 if we stay 3 nights on the base plus airfare. The $2,200 is the land part plus airfare, and if we stay in the hotel for an extra night, 2 and 2, it was $2,600. And this is at the Dan Panorama in Jerusalem. Either way, Thursday night we're staying in the hotel, and EVP will make those reservations for us.
But that's not included in the cost.
What's not included in the cost?
The hotels, Monday,
Oh.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sleeping in the base,
Aha.
including in the
Oh.
2,200.
Okay. Okay. We'll talk about that more. And then, okay. So we have to clarify that, and I will send that out to the group shortly.
And I
Thank you
sent
very-
some medical questions to Adi to ask, not in the group.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So if that's that, we'll say goodbye and thank you, and we'll be in touch with more information.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay. I'll end the call and I'll be in touch, Adi. I'm going to call you in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.